Right, welcome, ladies and gents, to my review of Alien Earth, Episode 4, Observation. Oh, I'm loving this program. I really am. What a fantastic episode. What a genuinely fantastic episode. Real quick, straight off the bat, loads of people have been asking, like, what's going on. I am on vacation, but I'm still working. So, excuse the acoustics and excuse the locale. I'm just on vacation. So, anyway, whatever. You didn't come here to listen to that. This episode was quite something. Previous episode, of course, we learned that Wendy could hear, quote unquote, hear the xenomorph. They were talking to her. And I did think to myself, and loads of you did as well, is she able to hear them because she's able to attune to higher frequencies? Now, this episode has gone some way to dispelling that, but also gone some way to potentially confirming it as well, interestingly. So we'll cover that now. When she woke up, Boy Cavalier's there, as is Arthur, the scientist who helped bring these hybrids to life. And they're sat bringing up different frequencies. You know, they have her hearing offline and they bring up different frequencies until she can begin to hear it, which, on face value, could confirm that it is just a frequency situation. However, Boy Cavalier did ask, Curly, I think is the other hybrid's name, who is in the room, the one who is trying to play favourites with Boy Cavalier. He did ask her, can you hear that? No, she said. Now, this still may be the case that actually Wendy is special and she can hear things because of that. There's nothing to stop that still being the case. But it looks like there's something else going on, right? She's able to hear them because of some other reason. Not overly sure why or how, and it still may be the case that she's able to do things that the others can't because of her, I'd say because of her mind, but then the others still display an element of childishness. But it goes back to when Boy Cavalier said, you know what a prodigy is? It's like it's a genius, it's a child genius. Yeah, they're a genius because they're a child, because they're able to imagine things. And it might be that she's able to imagine things that the others can't. Maybe, who knows? But it was fascinating. And then there's conversations between Boy Cavalier and his right-hand man, Ames, I think his name is. If an alien species is talking, one has to ask why. You know, listen, but also why. You know what? And the statement was, well, maybe they're not talking to us. Maybe we're just able to hear, and now they know we can hear, which I thought was really interesting. And categorically, she is hearing them talk / quote unquote talk. There is a language, an element of discourse there. Because the episode closes with her effectively, and it may, you know, the next episode it may change, and it may not actually be the case. It may be that the chestburster that comes out of a hermit's lung, you know, was just a bit mesmerized by her and she wasn't actually communicating with it. But it appears, again, the episode closed with her basically communicating with this chestburster. Quote, topic of conversation, I guess, as well, just side note, the design of the chestburster, I quite liked, actually. You could see its little hands, little arms there. And I quite liked the design, of the chestburster. Didn't hate it at all. Think it was quite good. But yeah, she communicates with it and strokes it. And they have a moment. All whilst Kersh is watching. So let's talk about the overall episode, but I wanted to highlight those things first. This episode was fantastic. Again, it opened with the communication element and Boy Cavalier, you know, going off and speaking to his right-hand man, Ames, about some other bits and pieces, about the xenomorph and the boy, the brother, and all of this. And I thought that was quite interesting. So the brother, Hermit, is now having to be reminded that actually, no, Marcy / Wendy, his sister, is property. She is property now. And if he wants to keep seeing her, he has to play ball. He has to work for Prodigy Corporation, which, you know, it opens up a whole lot of potential conflicts of interest. You know, who does what, who's doing, what for who. Is he going to potentially try and break her free? Who knows? It's kind of all over the place, but I like that. It opens up a lot of conflicts and interpersonal drama, which, I'm here for, quite frankly. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that pans out. But then we also hear Morrow again communicating with Slightly. I think it's Slightly. Or no, actually, that's the other one that renames himself. But basically speaks with him, the boy that he sort of put the object on and tapped into, and is basically saying, hey, you need to do something for me. Tries to do it in a manipulative way as his friend. He basically refuses, and because he learned his name, he then goes to see his parents, which I think is going to open up a whole world of problems, because you're also going to now get Ms. Yutani knowing what Boy Cavalier is up to, which I think will be fascinating. But he basically says you need to impregnate a human with an alien egg, and then I'm going to come and get what's inside it, effectively. And now it may be that he doesn't need to do that. It may be that now he will go for the chestburster that we've already seen. Potentially, who knows? But because Morrow threatens his brothers and his mother, I think that'll introduce a really interesting drama moving forwards, because when he sees that Wendy's brother's there, he gets really, really upset and angry. And then we see him later effectively stalking the brother. So I think that's going to be really interesting and play really nicely into some conflict moving forwards. And then, of course, T. Ocellus, what a crafty little mofo. We see the long-awaited sheep scene, and what a scene it was. Brutal, quite disgusting, actually. Theocellus is set free into this testing chamber where a sheep is. People have said it's a goat. It's not a goat, it's a sheep. Which I guess is, imagery for lambs to the slaughter. But yeah, goes in there, rips the sheep's eye out, instantly takes hold, stands up for a bit, just on its hind legs, bipedal, and then goes quadrupedal. And they confirm how intelligent it is. Yeah, this is a very intelligent alien species, very intelligent. And you can also see the beginnings of Boy Cavalier, and I think he's probably going to try and put a human in there so he can have a conversation with this alien. Because remember, he did all of this with hybrids because he wanted to have an interesting conversation, not because he cared about immortality, because he wanted an interesting conversation. What would be more interesting than having a conversation with an alien? That'd be fascinating, wouldn't it? And I think he's going to do that. And I think that that's going to be really mind-blowing, quite frankly. I think it's going to be mind-blowing. But then we see Kersh being very traditional synthetic. At one point, Boy Cavalier sends him away. It's like, don't you have experiments to run? Don't you have this to do? And you can see Kersh, he stops. And he thinks, he ponders, and then he smiles. It's like, yes. And then he leaves. And Kersh is being very weird. He knows that Morrow is talking to one of the hybrids, and yet he's watching, waiting, learning. And then he watches Wendy with the chestburster. He also goes in at one point and touches one of the eggs. He's doing very strange things. Very, very strange things. And I think to myself, yeah, that's very much synthetic stuff, isn't it? That's very much synthetic things. He's doing the things that they always do. What's going to happen there? But what an episode. What a bloody episode. The visual effects are great. I really like the cinematography in this, and I like the video editing, how they do a lot of fade out scene transitions, which I really like. I think it's beautifully crafted. I think it's really, really beautifully crafted. And then you have the ginger hybrid effectively going mental and having a nervous breakdown, believing she's pregnant, and threatening Dame Sylvia, the female scientist. Ooh, don't know what the hell's going to happen there, but something's going to go on. It's fascinating. It's a really, really, I love this series. I think it's brilliant. I cannot wait to see what happens moving forwards. So, hot predictions. It's a great episode. Go watch it. But hot predictions. You know, Wendy, I think, may go some way to letting the xenomorphs out because she can communicate with them. We don't know if she's going to learn what they actually say. I think that might be going a step too far, but who knows? We'll see. I think she may release the xenomorph that Chestburster will eventually become. I think she may have even imprinted on the xenomorph in some way by being the first person that it sees and communicates with it. So she may even, in some way, shape, or form, become an element of a queen, I guess, to some degree, right? A hive leader, not a queen, but you get my drift. And I'm still thinking, why? Like, why is she able to communicate with them? How is that possible? Now, there are some things from the expanded universe where this has happened before. So it's not unheard of, but it's fascinating. And I'm keen to see where it goes. So there you go. That's my review. Watch it. It's a good series. I know some people hate it, but I am all for this. I'm keen to see what happens. And I do hope they stick the landing. So there you go. Leave your thoughts down below. Take care. Bye-bye.